Please don't leave me here alone. The emergency room lights flickered overhead as Victoria Chen collapsed against the cold hospital wall, her designer heels abandoned somewhere between the parking lot and the entrance. Blood stained her trembling hands, not her own but her son's, and for the first time in her 38 years, the woman who had built a tech empire from nothing felt completely powerless. The doctors had disappeared behind those terrible swinging doors 20 minutes ago, taking her unconscious 12-year-old son with them, and she had never felt so utterly, devastatingly alone. Please, she whispered to no one, her voice cracking. Please don't leave me here alone. The words escaped before she could stop them, and she hated herself for the weakness, for the desperation that clawed at her throat. Victoria Chen didn't beg. Victoria Chen didn't break. But tonight, Victoria Chen was just a terrified mother who couldn't remember if she'd told her son she loved him that morning, before rushing to her 8 a.m. investor meeting. That's when she heard the voice, gentle, steady, impossibly calm in the chaos. Hey, you're not alone. If this story touches your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to Trillionaire in Love for more inspiring stories. Your support means everything, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. She looked up through tears she hadn't realized were falling to see a man crouching beside her. He wasn't wearing scrubs, just worn jeans and a flannel shirt with paint stains on the sleeves. His dark hair was slightly too long, curling at his collar, and his brown eyes held something she recognized because she'd seen it in her own mirror during those first terrible months after her divorce, the look of someone who had survived their own kind of hell. I'm Marcus, he said simply, settling down on the floor beside her, as if waiting in hospital corridors at midnight was the most natural thing in the world. My daughter's in surgery too, appendicitis. They caught it just in time, but... He paused and she saw his jaw tighten. The waiting is the hardest part. Victoria found herself nodding, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. This stranger had no idea who she was, no idea that her face graced the covers of Forbes and Fortune, that she'd been called the most influential woman in Silicon Valley 3 years running, that senators and CEOs took her calls within minutes. Here in this fluorescent-lit nightmare, she was just another parent drowning in fear. What happened? Marcus asked softly, and somehow that simple question broke something open inside her. Car accident, she managed. Not bad, they said, but he hit his head and he won't wake up, and I... Her voice shattered completely. I wasn't even there. I was at a dinner meeting across town. His nanny called me. His nanny? What kind of mother am I? Marcus didn't offer empty platitudes or tell her she was being too hard on herself. Instead, he pulled out his phone and showed her a photo. A little girl with missing front teeth and wild curly hair, grinning at the camera, while covered head to toe in what appeared to be purple paint. That's Lily. She's 7. Last month I missed her school play because I was working a double shift at the construction site. His voice was quiet but firm. I'm a single dad. Her mom left when she was 2. Every single day I wonder if I'm enough. If she'll grow up and remember all the times I wasn't there instead of the times I was. If working myself to exhaustion to keep a roof over our heads makes me a good father, or just an absent one. Victoria looked at the photo, then at this man who had no reason to sit with her, to share his own fears and failures with a stranger. How do you live with it? She whispered. The guilt? By showing up, Marcus said. Every time, even when it's hard, even when I'm scared, even when I feel like I'm failing. I show up. He met her eyes. And you're here now, aren't you? Right where you need to be. They sat in silence for a moment, and then Victoria found herself talking. Really talking, in a way she hadn't since her marriage fell apart 3 years ago. She told this stranger about the empire she'd built, about the 60-hour weeks and the constant pressure to be perfect, to prove that a woman could do it all. She told him about her ex-husband, who'd accused her of loving her company more than her family, and how she'd thrown herself even harder into work after he left, because at least their success was measurable. Results were clear, but I can't measure whether I'm a good mother, she said, her voice breaking. I can't quantify whether my son knows I love him. And tonight, when I got that call, all I could think was, what if I never get to tell him again? What if the last thing I said to him was, not now, honey, mommy's on an important call. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, 3 months ago, Lily asked me to teach her to ride a bike. I was exhausted. I'd been working on a project in the heat all day, and every muscle in my body ached. I almost said no. Almost told her maybe next weekend. He smiled, but it was tinged with something bittersweet. But I didn't. We went to the park and I ran beside that bike for 2 hours until it was too dark to see. She fell a dozen times, cried twice, and when she finally got it, when she rode 10 feet on her own and turned back to see if I was watching, his voice caught. The look on her face. Like I'd given her the world. That's a beautiful memory, Victoria said softly. It is. But here's the thing, I almost missed it. I almost chose exhaustion over my daughter. He looked at her intently. We all do the best we can with what we have. The question isn't whether you're perfect. It's whether you're willing to keep trying. To keep showing up. To choose your kid again and again, even when it's hard. Before Victoria could respond, a doctor emerged through the doors. Ms. Chen? She was on her feet instantly, heart hammering. Yes, that's me. How is he? Is Daniel? He's going to be fine, the doctor said, and Victoria's knees nearly buckled with relief. Mild concussion, some bruising, but no internal bleeding. He woke up a few minutes ago asking for you. Victoria pressed her hand to her mouth, tears streaming freely now. Can I see him? Of course. Follow me. She started to follow, then turned back to Marcus, who was still sitting against the wall, relief evident on his face. Thank you, she said. Thank you for sitting with me. For everything, he smiled. Go be with your son. She found Daniel in a small recovery room, looking impossibly small in the hospital bed, a bandage wrapped around his head. When he saw her, his eyes filled with tears. Mom, baby, I'm here. She rushed to his side, taking his hand carefully. I'm right here. I'm sorry, Daniel whispered. I know you had that important dinner. I didn't mean to mess it up. And there it was, the guilt she'd been carrying crystallized in her son's words. Her 12-year-old was apologizing for being in an accident because he thought her work dinner was more important than him. Daniel, look at me. Victoria waited until his eyes met hers. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is more important than you. Not my company, not any dinner, not anything. I'm so sorry if I ever made you feel like work came first. You are my whole world. Do you understand? He nodded, fresh tears spilling down his cheeks. I was scared, Mom. I thought, what if you didn't come? I will always come, she said fiercely. Always. No matter where I am or what I'm doing. You call and I come. That's a promise. They sat together in silence for a while, Daniel's hand in hers, and Victoria felt something shift inside her. All those years of building her empire, of proving herself, of chasing the next milestone, none of it mattered if she lost this. If she lost him. Not to an accident, but to her own misplaced priorities. Mom, Daniel said quietly, can we maybe do something together this weekend, just us? Maybe go to that arcade you always say is too loud? Victoria laughed through her tears. That arcade is absolutely too loud. Let's go. An hour later, after Daniel had fallen asleep holding her hand, Victoria stepped back into the waiting room. She was surprised to see Marcus still there, pacing near the windows, phone pressed to his ear. I know it's late, Mrs. Rodriguez. Thank you for watching her. I'll be home soon. Yes, she's fine. The surgery went perfectly. He turned and saw Victoria, relief crossing his face. He quickly ended his call. Your son? He's going to be okay, Victoria said, and saying the words out loud made them feel real for the first time. Thank you for... She paused. I don't think I would have made it through that wait without you. Sure you would have, Marcus said gently. You're stronger than you think. Maybe, Victoria said. But it helped not to be alone. She hesitated, then pulled out her phone. Can I give you my number? I'd like to stay in touch, if you want. Marcus looked surprised. Really? I mean, yes. Yes, I'd like that. They exchanged numbers and then Marcus said, I should go. Lily will be discharged in the morning, and I need to get home to sleep for approximately 2 hours before I turn back around. He smiled. Single-parent life. Wait, Victoria said. What do you do? For work? Construction. I do custom carpentry mostly. Furniture, cabinets, that kind of thing. An idea sparked in Victoria's mind. Would you be willing to come by my office next week? I'm renovating our headquarters, and we need someone to build custom pieces for the executive spaces. Someone with actual skill, not just another overpriced contractor who outsources everything. Marcus raised his eyebrows. Your office? I run a... tech company. Chen Innovations. Maybe you've heard of it. His eyes widened. You're the Victoria Chen? The one who, wow, okay, I definitely did not recognize you. Good, Victoria said, and she meant it. I like just being a scared mom for a while. You're a CEO who builds companies and a scared mom, Marcus said. Both things are true. She smiled. Will you come next week? We can talk business, and honestly, I'd like my son to meet you. I want him to meet someone who shows up, who understands that success isn't just what you build at work, but who you are when it matters most. I'd be honored, Marcus said. They said goodbye, and Victoria watched him walk away. This stranger who had become something more in the span of a few hours, not a business connection or a networking opportunity, but a reminder of what really mattered. A reminder that she wasn't alone in this struggle to be enough, to balance everything, to show up even when it hurt. The next morning, as Victoria sat beside Daniel's hospital bed watching him sleep, she made decisions. She called her assistant and cleared her calendar for the next week. She called her board and told them she was implementing a new policy: remote work 1 day a week, and no meetings before 9 a.m. or after 5 p.m. Lead by example, she told them. Show our employees that family comes first. Some of them pushed back. She didn't care. 3 weeks later, Marcus came to her office, not just to discuss the renovation project, but to bring Lily to meet Daniel, who had insisted his mom invite the guy from the hospital and his daughter over for dinner. The four of them sat around Victoria's dining table, eating takeout pizza, because Victoria had forgotten she couldn't actually cook, and Lily regaled them with stories about her bike riding adventures, while Daniel taught her a card game he'd learned at school. Marcus caught Victoria's eye across the table and smiled. This, his expression seemed to say, this is what matters. Victoria smiled back, watching her son laugh with a little girl he'd just met, free and joyful in a way she hadn't seen in months. Maybe years. She thought about the woman she'd been in that hospital waiting room, broken, desperate, terrified that she'd lost what mattered most by focusing on all the wrong things. And she thought about the man who'd sat beside her and reminded her that showing up again and again was enough. That admitting fear and imperfection wasn't weakness, but humanity. Over the following months, something unexpected happened. The business relationship became a friendship. The friendship became coffee dates while the kids were at school. The coffee dates became dinner after the kids were asleep. And slowly, carefully, two people who had learned the hard way that life was short and precious began to build something new together, not despite their failures and fears, but because of them. One evening, 6 months after that fateful night in the hospital, Victoria and Marcus sat on her back porch, while Daniel and Lily caught fireflies in the yard. She rested her head on his shoulder, feeling a peace she'd never expected to find. You know what I realized, she said quietly. That night in the hospital, I was begging not to be left alone, but I wasn't asking the doctors or the universe. I was asking myself not to abandon the person I was supposed to be, the mother, the human being underneath all the titles and achievements. Marcus squeezed her hand. And did you abandon her? No, Victoria said, watching her son's laughter float through the evening air. I found her again. And I found you. And I found something I'd forgotten, that the most successful thing any of us can do is love the people right in front of us. Is that going to be your new company slogan? Marcus teased. She laughed. Maybe it should be, because here was the truth she'd learned in the hardest way possible. Empires could crumble, stock prices could fall, and accolades could fade. But the moments that mattered, the hand you held in the dark, the laughter of your child, the person who showed up when you needed them most, those were forever. Those were everything. That night at the hospital, Victoria Chen had been a CEO who'd lost her way. Now she was simply Victoria, a mother, a partner, a woman who'd learned that the greatest success wasn't measured in quarterly earnings or market dominalization, but in the quiet moments of showing up for the people you loved, and she showed up. Every single day, just like Marcus had taught her. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to Trillionaire in Love for more heartfelt stories about life, love, and second chances. Drop a comment below telling me what you think. Did Victoria's journey inspire you? Have you ever had a moment that changed everything? I read every comment and I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to share this with someone who needs to hear this message today. Until next time, remember, The greatest success is showing up for what matters most.